Hello children, this is Manish Yadav and today I am going to do remaining portion of chapter 9th, Bond of Love. In the last video I explained up to 5th paragraph of this chapter. As we know that the narrator of the chapter gifted the sloth bear to his wife, and his wife was delighted so much after having an animal like bear. She christened and nominalized it Bruno, means the name of the bear was Bruno. Let you go through the next paragraph, that is 6th. Bruno soon took to drink milk from a bottle. It was but a step further, and within a very few days he started eating and drinking everything else. Bruno. What happens when Bruno was carried to narrator's house and he was being looked after by narrator's wife? Bruno started to drink milk from a bottle, means he began to drink milk from a bottle. It was but a step further, and within a very few days he started eating and drinking everything else. And he took only short period of span to eat and drink everything else. Means he was eating and drinking everything what he found. And everything is the right word, for he ate porridge made from any ingredients, vegetables, fruit, nuts, meat, especially pork, curry, and rice, regardless of condiments and chilies, bread, eggs, chocolates, sweets, pudding, ice cream, etc., etc., and etc. Means these all things, vegetables, fruits, nuts, all types of ingredients, meat, curry, and rice, regardless condiments, spices, and chilies, bread, eggs, chocolates, sweets, pudding, ice cream, and all. He started eating all the mentioned ingredients, fruits, whatever has been described and mentioned in this paragraph. He started eating everything as it has been mentioned above. As for drink, milk, tea, coffee, lime juice, aerated water, buttermilk, beer, alcoholic liquor, and in fact anything liquid, it all went down with release. Means he started eating and drinking everything, whether it is alcohol, it is milk, it is tea, coffee, lime juice, aerated water, buttermilk, etc. and etc. He started everything, whether it is any kind of drink or ingredients to eat. It went down with release. Just it took everything for a while, just in a stroke. Next paragraph is 7th. The bear became very attached to our two Alsatian dogs and to all the children of the tenants living in our bungalow. The bear, it became very attached and familiar to our two Alsatian dogs. The narrator had two Alsatian dogs at his home, and Bruno became very familiar with them as he came at home, and he became friend with two Alsatian dogs after 2 months. And all the children. He also became familiar with all the children of tenants living in our Bangalore. Means all the children of the colony of the Bangalore living around narrator's Bangalore became familiar with Bruno. Shortly, he was left quite free in his younger days and spent his time in playing, running into the kitchen, and going to sleep in our beds. Dear children, first of all, I want you to pay attention on the screen, on the text, so that you would understand it better. Seventh paragraph is being explained, and you must figure out each line very carefully. The bear became very attached to our two Alsatian dogs and all the children of my colony. He was left quite free in his younger days, and he spent his time in playing, running into the kitchen. Most of the time, Bruno goes into the kitchen. He runs here and there. He plays by running, moving here and there. He spends his time by doing such activities and going to sleep in our beds. And he goes to sleep in our beds, not everywhere. One day, an accident befell him. I put down poison, barium carbonate, to kill the rats and mice that had got into my library. One day, what happened with Bruno, sloth bear, let you know. An accident took place in its life. The narrator put down poison. It was barium carbonate. It is a kind of poison which is used to kill rats and mice that had got into my library. Narrator kept poison barium carbonate to kill the rats and mice in his library. Bruno entered the library as he often did, and he ate some of the poison. Bruno, the bear, entered into the library as he usually goes there most of the time in a day. He ate some of the poison. He took some of the poison barium carbonate. Paralysis set in to the extent that he could not stand on his feet. What was the result? Drinking poison would be resulting paralysis set into the extent that he could not stand on his feet. And the condition after drinking barium carbonate was so miserable, he could not stand a few steps on his feet. But he dragged himself on his stumps to my wife, who called me. But Bruno tried so much, and he hardly moved some steps to his stumps, and he arrived to my wife, narrator's wife, who called me. Narrator's wife called the narrator. I guessed what had happened. And I realized within a short period of time about what happened. Off I rushed in the car to the Waite's residence, a case of poisoning, tin beer, barium carbonate. What to do? Off I rushed in the car, Waite's residence. I immediately took a car to the Waite's residence, a case of poisoning. It was the case of poisoning because Bruno took some of the poison which was kept in the library of narrator, and it was resulting paralysis to the sloth bear. As you know, the name of sloth bear is Bruno. Barium carbonate. What to do? What to do in case if an animal has taken poison? That is barium carbonate. Next page and paragraph number is 9. Let you be focused and attentive very carefully. Go through the text. Out came his medical books, and a feverish reference to index began. What poison did you say, sir? Barium carbonate. Yes. Barium salts. Barium carbonate. Symptoms: paralysis. Treatment: injections. Of just a minute. Sir, I'll bring my syringe and the medicine. When he visited the doctor, he stated the problem that this animal has taken barium carbonate and this is a kind of poison, and its symptoms. What features, what symptoms are there if an animal takes barium carbonate? It would be resulting paralysis, and its treatment: injections. Just a minute, sir. I'll bring my syringe and the medicine. The doctor recommended to wait for some time unless he takes his syringe and some of the medicines. A dash back to the car, Bruno still floundering about on his stumps, but clearly weakening rapidly. Bruno was struggling to move. He was trying hardly to move a step, but he could not move. But clearly weakening rapidly. He was weakening, means he was being so weak rapidly, so fast. Some omitting, heavy breathing with heaving flanks and gaping mouth. He was opening his mouth, open-mouthed. He was lying on the ground, and he was weakening so fast. Some of the omitting, he omitted. Heavy breathing, he was hardly breathing with heaving flanks and gaping mouth. His mouth was open. He was lying open-mouthed on the ground. Next paragraph, that is 10th. Hold him, everybody. In goes the hypodermic. Bruno squeals. 10 cc of the antidote enters his system without a drop being wasted. Hold him, everybody. The doctor recommended and advised everybody to hold Bruno firmly, strongly, so that it could not move its part of body, and he could easily injected the Bruno. In goes the hypodermic. Bruno squeals. 10 cc. It was 10 cc antidote enters his system without a drop being wasted. 10 minutes later, condition unchanged. He injected with 10 cc of antidote that could cancel the effects of poison. But there was not a single change in the condition of Bruno. Another 10 cc injected. Again, the doctor injected another 10 cc injection. 10 minutes later, breathing less stertorous, Bruno can move his arms and legs a little, although he cannot stand it. This time he got relief when another 10 cc injection was injected in his body. He got relief and began to move his arms and legs a little. However, he could not stand properly yet. It could not move and stand on his feet, yet it was in the same condition, but there was some improvements in his body. It could move his arms and legs a little. 30 minutes later, Bruno gets up and has a great feat. He looks at us disdainfully, as much as to say, "What's barium carbonate to a big black bear like me?" Bruno is still eating. What happens? After 30 minutes, Bruno gets up. He gets up and has a great feat. Now he is feeling better. This time he looks at us disdainfully. He looked at everybody confidently, bravely, with a great confidence, as much as if it says, "What's barium carbonate to a big black bear like me?" Bravery, just with a great confidence. It seems that Bruno was saying like that. This is nothing. Barium carbonate is nothing to this black bear like me. Bruno is still eating, and he started eating again. Another time, now we are going to start 11th paragraph. Another time, he found nearly 1 gallon of old engine oil, which I had drained from the sump of the stud baker and was keeping as a weapon against the inroads of termites. He promptly drank the lot, but it had no ill effects whatever. Another time, another accident took place in Bruno's life. He found nearly 1 gallon of old engine oil. 1 gallon of old engine oil, you could see, useless engine oil that we collect to keep it for other uses. It was drunken by Bruno again, and he drank it a lot. Just I kept the engine oil as the weapon. The narrator says that I kept the engine oil just to use as a weapon against the inroads of termites. You can say termites, it is a kind of mammal or insect that found its food in the dried trees. They kill a tree. So just it was as a weapon of termites. He promptly drank the lot, and this time Bruno drank a lot of engine oil. But it was not affecting illness or whatever. Nothing happened. with Bruno. But this time he drank a lot of engine oil. The months rolled on, and Bruno had grown many times the size he was when he came. The Bruno was growing up just rapidly, because when he came, he was small in size. But day after day, Bruno was growing up, because aging is the natural process, as we know. He had equaled the Alsatians in height and had even outgrown them. Gradually, he became equivalent to the height of my Alsatians dogs, even outgrown them, and gradually he became higher just with the height rather than Alsatian dogs, but was just as sweet, just as mischievous, just as playful. He was very sweet. Bruno was very sweet. He was very nutty. Mischievous means nutty, just as playful. And most of the time, he keeps playing. And he was very fond of us all. And he was very fond of us, means he adored and liked us a lot. But all above, he loved my wife. But most of the time, or just if we compare between his care and dedication towards us, he loved my wife more than everybody, and she loved him too, and undoubtedly she loved Bruno too. She had changed his name from Bruno to Baba, because this time he is a grown up, and Baba suits according to the appearance and size of his own body, a Hindustani word signifying small boy. Baba. It signifies a small boy in the Hindustani word, and he could do a few tricks too at the command, and Baba could follow some commands. If somebody says to do something, Baba wrestle or Baba box. He vigorously tackled anyone who came forward for a rough and tumble. Means he could understand some signs. If someone says wrestle or Baba box, he bravely tackle anyone. Okay, he fights with anyone, just signifying and indicating that he is fighting. Give him a stick and say, Baba, hold gun. This is a kind of command which is a given for the armies and soldiers to hold the gun. He pointed the stick at you. Okay, means he was doing some activities like human being, because he was taught and learned such commands. Baba, where is the baby? And he immediately produced and cradled affectionately a stump of wood which he had carefully concealed in his straw bed. And he hides a stump of wood, as it seems that it was his own baby, and affectionately, lovingly, he took the stump of wood in his lap and looks after as his own child. But because of the teenage children, poor Bruno or Baba had to be kept chained most of the time. But he was domesticated at the home, and he is grown up now, so most of the time he was bounded and tied firmly with chain, so that it could not hurt the children of the Bangalow or Aloni. That's it for this video. It is going to be so longer. So remaining paragraph will be covered in the next video from 13. That's it. Keep learning.